Welcome to my channel, Soul Knowledge. My name is Mike. I definitely wanted to start things off by saying thank you to those of you who subscribed before I kicked off my first video. I wanted to say thank you to those who tuned into my first video, and thank you to the subscribers that are going to be subscribing in the future as well. But I wanted to kick things off a little bit of an intro as to what I was going to be talking about on my channel and what my goal was with the channel as well. But from the information you guys are going to be getting is pretty much going to be stuff on Eastern spirituality. So meditation, yoga, we'll talk about crystals, we'll talk about consciousness, ancient Egypt, we'll get into astrology. I'll try to touch on a lot of topics, but pretty much my whole plan was for you guys to see the journey start to finish of a spiritual journey. It can get pretty intimidating in the spiritual realm, talking to people who've been in it for 15 to 20 plus years and just trying to pick their brains and get as much information as you can from their heads. But I thought it'd be pretty cool for you guys to see someone who's only been in it for about a year and some change. So as I share the information that I've gathered, I'll be able to also, show you the journey and how it's affecting my experience as well. So that's pretty much the aim, is for people to see everything from start to finish, and for me to share my knowledge on where I'm receiving the knowledge and what apps I'm using, what books I'm reading, and things like that. Because the whole goal is for me to just read as much as I can, weed through all the stuff that I feel isn't resonating with me, and to pass it along to you guys. And I want you guys to do the same thing. I don't listen to every little piece of information that I gather. I kind of just get what resonates with me and I roll with it. So I want you guys to do the same with what I give to you guys. Whatever resonates with you, of course, take it. Whatever doesn't, just leave it. But that's pretty much my goals here with the channel. Of course, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, so that way you guys don't miss any of the topics that I drop. But with that being said, we'll go ahead and jump into the first topic. Is going to be on meditation / mindfulness. All right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and jump into our first topic. So for the first video, I wanted to keep things just a little simple. I don't want to get too deep into things for my first video. So to start things off, we're just going to talk a little bit about mindfulness / meditation. So basically, to kick things off, I'm going to go ahead and just give the basic definition of what meditate is out of the dictionary. So to meditate is to think deeply or focus one's mind for a period of time in silence or with aid of chanting, for religious or spiritual purposes or method of relaxation. So that's a pretty vague definition of what it is to meditate, in my opinion, just because it just puts meditation in a very small category when meditation comes in several different forms. You have meditations for your chakra, you have meditations for anxiety, to sleep, for focus, for several different things. And there's several different types of meditation as well. Mantra meditations, you have posture meditations, yoga meditations, you can meditate laying down. So putting that vague definition on it really doesn't help with most people, because then they think, well, I can't focus, I can't think deeply because I have ADHD, or I have this, or I have that. So I like to start things off with mindfulness, because I feel, in my opinion, that's one of the easiest meditations there is, because you can actually do it throughout the entire day. You don't have to set time aside through your day to focus and think deeply. You can actually be mindful on any daily activity. So while you're running, jogging, walking, you can walk the dog and be mindful. You can brush your teeth, take a shower, play video games mindful. You can watch movies mindfully, art mindfully, paint mindfully. There's several things that you can do mindfully that doesn't require you to actually sit still and think about one thing. So for mindfulness, for the video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what mindfulness is. We're going to talk about how to be mindful. We're going to talk about a few books that I've read, on mindfulness, a couple people that I follow for mindfulness. And then I'm going to talk about maybe a few things that people complain about when it comes to sitting and meditating. Also, we'll talk about the benefits of meditation and mindfulness as well. So to kick things off, I do want to start off with one quote from Russell Simmons. So he says, I have one film company, a TV company, a record company, a music company, 5 charities, and yet every day, no matter what, I get to meditate and do a physical asana practice for 2.5 hours. Now, I know, of course, the man's rich. He has people that does things for him so he can free up a lot more time than we can. But I'm not asking anybody to put 2.5 hours aside to meditate or to practice yoga or to do any type of spiritual practice. I'm asking more to set about 10 to 15 minutes aside to sit and meditate. And, even in the definition, meditation is a religious practice. So you can meditate in church. A lot of people don't even realize that you can meditate and listen to the word in church. But that's another conversation for another day. But to meditate, you could just sit and be aware of what's going on around you. That's really what the goal is in mindfulness. It's just awareness. So that goes down to being aware of any sounds that might be, going on around you, being aware of the colors, that are around you, and being aware of maybe like if you're washing up or you're brushing your teeth, what are your what muscles are moving, being aware of that. And then, putting the think deeply into it, then analyze it. Analyze the muscles that are moving, analyze the muscles that aren't moving. Once you learn how to analyze things in the present moment, analyzing things that are happening in the present moment, it trains your brain to kind of slow down. It really does. Now, I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody, but I mean, if you haven't tried it, then try it. If you have ADHD, try it. It'll help slow your brain down when you actually learn to live in the present moment. And when we say learn to live in the present moment, we don't mean, YOLO, I'm gonna spend this $300. I'm in the present moment. We don't mean nothing. I don't mean that. When I mean live in the present moment, I mean be aware of your surroundings. A lot of people these days, we're not aware of our surroundings. And, we hear it from the older generation all the time. We're in our phones, we're in this, we're in that. There's nothing wrong with technology. We're moving into an age where technology is going to be so advanced. It's going to be a beautiful thing. And I'm not one to say, technology needs to be taken down, but we do need to set it aside sometimes. We got the PS5 now, we got our phones in our faces, we got, all these things that we have, because we have our lives to deal with as well. But when we're on Facebook and we're on the PlayStation and we're just getting our energies all riled up because we're losing in a game, or even if we're winning in a game, or if we see something on Facebook that got us pissed off and now our auras and our energies are all unbalanced and off, we got to set that aside sometimes. And that comes with being aware, being mindful. When you're aware, like, all right, what's getting me like this? And sometimes we have to ask ourselves that. A lot of us are empaths and we don't know it. We don't even know that we're empaths. You might be feeling your neighbor's energy. You got this panicky feeling all of a sudden. You got this anxious feeling all of a sudden, but you don't know where it came from. It might be your neighbor's energy. It might not even be your energy. It might be because you've seen something on Facebook, but your subconscious kind of set it aside and you're not thinking about it, but your body actually did react to it, but you're not really consciously thinking about it. It could be something like that. So sometimes you got to just ask yourself, is this my energy? Why am I feeling like this? And then once you ask yourself that and you figure it out, then that's awareness. You're being aware of your energy being that way. And then you can use that to actually, all right, I'm anxious, but I have no reason to be. This is why I'm anxious, because of my neighbor's energy, or because I seen this on Facebook. Let me put this aside and meditate, because I'm being mindful. I'm being aware. And then just sit the phone aside for a little bit. And that's all you got to do. But like I said, the main goal in mindfulness is just awareness. I'm going to read a real quick quote. One of the masters, he's a Vietnamese monk that I follow. His name is Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh. He's written over 130 books that he has published. I've read a couple. I've read The Moments of Mindfulness, and I've read You Are Here. I recommend both of those books. Moments of Mindfulness for anybody who's getting started on mindfulness, because he kind of does break it down in a very simple way. And it's not all that intimidating. I also read Mindfulness in Plain English is actually the first one that I've read, which was a pretty simple read for me. I cannot pronounce the guy's name, so I'm not going to even attempt to try. But I do recommend that one as well. A couple of the things that we'll hit on today, I've actually pulled from that book. But Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh, he is a peace activist. He actually, I can't remember what the name of the part of the brain it is, but because that's in another book for my notes on the subconscious and how the brain works. We'll talk about that in another video. But to touch on it, the part of his brain that our brains that actually gets us angry and irritated, his is off. It just doesn't work. It doesn't send signals. That's the type of peace I want in my life. You know, he can't get angry. He can't get angry. You cannot make him angry. It's not possible. But it's crazy. But one of the quotes that he has that I pulled from him: to be fully alive, fully present, look deeply at what is there. And that's what I was saying when I was saying, when you think deeply into what you're analyzing. Look deeply at what is there. You know, don't just look at something. And those of us with ADHD, one of the things that worked for me when I heard that quote, I was like, look deeply at what is there. Okay, cool. When I have my moments where I have my thoughts running through my head the way that I do, I analyze each and every thought. I analyze it. What's going on in this thought? But what you don't want to do is get your emotions caught up in the thought. You don't want to be, oh, why am I thinking about this? What's going on with me? Da 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 da. No, because then you'll start panicking. Then you'll have an anxiety attack, and then their thoughts will just keep racing and racing. Just analyze it. Just analyze. Okay, what's going on in this thought? And sometimes if you got to write it down, write it down. What's going on in this thought? What is it? What am I thinking about? Okay, I'm at the mall. Okay, I'm shopping for this. I'm with X, Y, and Z. I'm with this person. I'm with that person. So once you start doing that, once you start analyzing the thought will eventually go away. It'll eventually go away. And then the next thought will come. Do the same thing with the next thought. And then keep doing it and doing it. And then that's that's meditating, especially for those of us with ADHD, because we're technically slowing the thought down. We're slowing the thought down. That's a form of meditation. Now, none of the information that I'm going to be giving you guys through any of my videos are going to be for medical purposes or anything like that, of course. I do want to let y'all know that. There's nothing to change what your doctor's telling you to get you off any pills or nothing like that. You know, you still listen to your doctor, or you follow your intuition and you do what's best for yourself and what you feel is best for you. That's all I can say, is just follow your intuition. But I'm not going to say that this is to substitute any type of medical information. This is just to sharing information that I've received and information that I've read. But with that being said, Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh, definitely recommend following him if you're wanting to get into mindfulness. Because like I said, if you want to get into meditation and it's really difficult for you to sit there and just clear your thoughts and meditate sitting, I would recommend mindfulness. And Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh talks about how you can be mindful walking, you can drink tea mindfully. You know, there's several ways to be mindful, and it's a form of meditation. It's a slower form to get you through the spiritual awakening, which is most people's goal, but it's a form to get you started. And then you'll start to find that as you start to be mindful throughout your day, you're actually going to subconsciously start putting time aside to meditate, because your body's going to start being like, okay, I like this feeling. You know, it's slowing me down. I feel better. I don't know what's going on, but I feel better. And subconsciously, you're going to start finding yourself meditating. You're going to like, where did this time come from that I didn't have before? And maybe it's you put Facebook down for 5 minutes, and you put your PlayStation down for 5 minutes. You didn't go shopping when you probably wanted to. You know, things like that. You know, you're not going to notice it. Subconsciously, you're going to start doing it, and then eventually you're going to find yourself meditating for 10 minutes, and you're going to be like, wow, I've actually found the time to do this. I'm proud of myself. And then it's going to become a habit. But when I first started, I couldn't sit down for 5 to 10 minutes. Now I'm at about 30, 45 minutes. It's definitely a journey, and it's a struggle to get there, but it's definitely worth it to calm your mind down. And it completely helps you get through a lot of things, because it helps you dig up stuff that you probably haven't dealt with that you can end up then releasing. And then now you dealt with it, because we are creatures of suppressing. We suppress a lot. And that's why a lot of people end up sometimes struggling with meditation, because it does bring up things that you haven't dealt with, and then it allows you then to deal with it and then release that energy, so that way you can move on and then live the life that you were meant to live, pretty much. But anyway, I did want to go ahead and also talk a little bit about the benefits of meditation, because we've already talked about, the goal is awareness. Like I said, this is a basic video, to be honest. For my first video, I just wanted to talk about the basics of how to get you going into meditation, because a lot of people struggle with that. They'll get started, and then after about a few weeks, they're like, it's not for me. Well, there's different forms, but a lot of people don't have time to actually look into it. And that's what my goal is. I want to do all the stuff that you guys probably don't got time to do. I want to make this a full-time thing for me, where I'm just spirituality, and I'm be able to travel, and I'm able to go to Egypt and China and Japan and all these places to study these things firsthand and bring it to you guys. I want to do this. This is what I want to do. But anyways, we're going to touch bases a little bit on the benefits of meditation as well. So the physical benefits were one of the videos that I watch, or one of the channels that I follow, is called Spirit Science. Now, I like them a lot because, of course, as I've said, I have ADHD. So it gets difficult sometimes when I have to sit here and read books all day, or if I'm watching documentaries all day, or reading articles all day. I do have my moments, so I understand people who say it's hard for them. But Spirit Science has turned it into cartoon form. So I like watching them because, I can watch it with my kids. It's entertaining. He's pretty dope. He backs up all his information. Even though it's in cartoon form, it doesn't take away from the information he gives, because he does back it all up with books and the art, the people he's getting it from, the articles, and all of that stuff. So it's valid information. So I definitely would recommend also following Spirit Science. For those of you who think that this is just boring, so you probably won't get into it because it makes you fall asleep or something crazy like that. But anyway, he likes to call it the Western benefits of what meditation is. So of course, lowering your blood pressure, it helps with depression, it helps changing the brain. So like if you're trying to change bad habits, helps you kick smoking if you want to get over smoking, addictions, all types of stuff. Also, on the Eastern side, they more focus on, like I was saying earlier, the spiritual side. So having a spiritual awakening. So their main goal is to awaken the soul. That's what I'm trying to do. That's the goal that I have. That's where I'm moving towards. Not saying that that's the goal that everyone has to have, but that is just the main goal for the Eastern spirituality side, when they meditate and do yoga and things like that, is to awaken the soul. But like I said, there's many different benefits to meditation. It helps with your health. There's this thing called telomeres. Now telomeres they're like the little plastic piece on the end of shoelaces. They're on the end of our chromosome cell. So what they do is, when our cells replicate, we lose a little bit of that cell, and the telomere prevents you from losing cell out of that cell. So the more telomere you have, the better, because as you replicate, as you get older and stuff like that, you won't lose that much cell out of the cell when it replicates. So basically, they found that the more telomeres you have, the less likely you are to have disease. The less telomeres you have, the more likely you are to have disease. So the older we get, we actually lose our telomeres. So basically, they found that they can measure your lifespan with the amount of telomeres that you have. Now, Deepak Chopra has said that 3 to 4 months of constant meditation has been found to increase the amount of telomeres. So basically, in turn, you're increasing your biological clock. So you're increasing your lifespan. So after 3 to 4 months of constant meditation, you've already increased your lifespan pretty much on your biological clock. So you've lived longer. You can live longer just by meditating. So that's pretty much what made me end up jumping. That was one of the first things that I learned in meditation, was that you can increase your lifespan. So as soon as I learned that, I was ready to jump on it. And I decided to do more research because I was like, why aren't they teaching this? This is something that should be taught in schools. If meditation is doing things like this needs to be taught in schools. So that's what made me jump on and figure out, like, what is there's more. There has to be more to the spirituality stuff. And, of course, I found a lot more. So that's pretty much what my channel is going to be about, is all the stuff that I found out that they don't teach in school, that's been backed up by science. We'll get into all of that stuff. But we'll touch on a few things that people complain about with meditation, and, how you can kind of, I guess, quote unquote, solve it. And then I'll let you guys go, because I didn't want my videos to be too long, because I know I don't like watching really long videos myself. But one of the main things is physical pain. So that's for the posture meditation. So if you have to sit in a certain posture and you're meditating. So in meditation, a lot of times you want your spine to be erect. So a lot of people get tense when they feel like they have to erect their spine. But having your spine erect, your body doesn't have to be tense. So a lot of times if you're feeling physical pain, you're probably tensed up somewhere. Now, this is coming out of the book, Mindfulness in Plain English. If you're hurting like in your back or something like that, I always recommend doing like what we call as an awareness body check. So just run down your body. Am I tense here? Relax. Am I tense there? Relax. And just run down your entire body and relax each body part one by one. Eventually, once you get down to your last body part, you'll start to see that the pain probably is gone because you've relaxed that body part. If not, then you probably just have body pains. And I would recommend, what I do is sometimes I have to lay down and meditate, lay on my back and meditate. And then once you work on your posture and you get your posture up, then it'll start to get better. Also, I recommend, getting your core strengthened, because that definitely helps with posture. So sit-ups, crunches, leg lifts, anything to get your core strengthened. So get that strengthened up a little bit, and then you'll get your posture going as well. But another thing is drowsiness. People, after meditating for about 10 to 15 minutes, I'm a victim of it myself. You'll start to feel like you're falling asleep. A lot of times you're not. It's your body falling asleep, which is possible. That's how you end up with sleep paralysis. That's for another video. But what you would want to do is, again, we're going to go back to awareness. Try to break down and analyze what the drowsiness is doing to you. Okay, so is this part of my body getting limp? Am I leaning backwards? Is my mind getting cloudy? Do I feel myself kind of falling off the bed, or do I feel myself falling asleep? Analyze it. And a lot of times analyzing it and becoming aware that you're drowsy will kind of kick you out of the drowsiness, but don't move. If you've gotten that far into your meditation, the goal is stillness. A lot of times, if you're doing a real meditation, not just the mindfulness, like I said, mindfulness you could do with any daily activity. But if you're doing a posture meditation, the goal is stillness. So if you analyze the drowsiness, 9 times out of 10, you'll snap out of it. Another thing that people complain about is the boredom. Boredom in meditation. The book, Mindfulness in Plain English, he says, pretty much if you're being mindful and you're meditating, you can't be bored, because you're approaching true mindfulness. You're approaching life like a child, pretty much. You're approaching life like a child. So you're looking at everything like it's brand new. So you really, when do you really see a child become bored? Until they get older, of course. You don't really see a child get bored because they haven't seen everything. So when you look at something mindfully, and like, how monks do, they look at a butterfly fluttering and it's like the most amazing thing in the world. I want to be able to do that. But you know, it doesn't have to always be um, something boring either. I mean, if you're being mindful, like I said, your thoughts are gonna happen. Take control of your thoughts. Take control of it. Make it something fun. That's what I do. And this is just for beginners. You know, this is for the people to start off in the meditation, you know, because eventually you're not going to want to keep taking control of your thoughts. You're going to want to deal with your thoughts and then have them going. But I mean, for the beginners, you know, when you're practicing posture and you're practicing all this other stuff and you feel like it's a struggle, make it fun. Think of something that you like, animate it in your mind. Think of a story that you like, but don't get caught up in it to the point, like I said, where you're getting emotional and you're getting your emotions attached to it. Watch it like a movie. Play a movie in your head. Like that's a way to do it. But that's just to build the habit of being able to sit there for longer than 10 to 15 minutes. Again, the goal is to go ahead and deal with the thoughts and just sit there and let them happen naturally. But if you have to take control of your thoughts for a little bit and just instead of letting them happen naturally, do that. But just build the habit of being able to sit still for about 10 to 15 minutes without your phone, without music, without anything in front of you, and just being aware of your surroundings. But I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all go because my video is already getting pretty long. I do apologize if it's too long for y'all. But again, definitely appreciate the support, you guys. Don't forget to hit that bell, hit that subscribe button. I'll have it coming along the bottom of the screen for you guys as well throughout the whole video. It was at the bottom, but if you missed it, it's still there. You guys have a good one. Peace, love, and blessings to you all. Definitely appreciate you your support, and I hope to see you guys on my next video. We'll be talking about chakras.